Alright, so now it's official. Chelsea will be playing not in the Europa League next season, obviously not in the Champions League, but in the Conference League. Somehow Manchester United won the FA Cup final against Manchester City. If you watched the game, United just wanted it more. It felt like Manchester City players were still hungover from their celebrations of winning the Premier League. By the way, Pep Guardiola, the mighty Pep Guardiola, only won the Premier League this season. If Arsenal weren't such butlers, this would have been a trophyless season for Pep Guardiola. Let that sink in. Anyways, let's talk about Chelsea. We've talked about Kieran McKenna, we've talked about the various transfer options, the transfer options for managers, or should I say head coach, because the guy coming in is going to be a yes man, not a manager, not someone who would probably speak his mind. That's clearly not what the rumors have been indicating, which is also why, in my opinion, Ruben Amorim from Sporting is an unlikely candidate. Because if you listen to his press conference, if you listen to what the fans are saying of Sporting, are saying about the guy, if you look at the way he conducts himself on the pitch, you look at the way his teams are playing, I highly doubt that he's the type of manager or head coach that would listen to owners, sporting directors, telling him how he should be playing with his team. I highly doubt that. But then again, I could be mistaken, I could be completely wrong. By the way, thank you to all the new subscribers. We're this close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. This is just the start. Of course, the season has ended, so we're now warming up and making sure that the channel and this group of viewers, this community, is getting bigger and bigger as we get nearer to the start of next season. So thank you very much to everyone that has been joining. So let's talk about the potential fourth candidate for Chelsea, which is Roberto De Zerbi. I did a video about the various managers that Chelsea could be looking at. I analyzed Roberto De Zerbi's game a little bit. If you missed that video, it's going to be in the top right corner. But in this one, let's summarize the character. Let's summarize his performance this season with Brighton. They finished 11th, which is way worse than last season, obviously. Last season, they outperformed by quite a lot. Anyways, this season, finished 11th, conceded 62 goals, which put them 11th in the league, and scored 55 goals, putting them 12th in the league, which means only 8 teams did worse. And with regards to losses, 14 losses for the season. And this is basically Brighton compared to the Premier League when it comes to goals, shots, field goals, etc., etc. The only area where they really outperform is possession-wise. I think it's around 60% or so. So clearly possession-based football, which is unfortunately what our owners and sporting directors are looking for, which, okay, sometimes can be great. But if you looked at the amount of goals conceded, if you look at some of the score lines for this season, complete humiliation in some of those games, yes, maybe possession is not always the best plan. Anyways, goals conceded, they're basically on par with the Premier League. Field tilt a bit better, shots a tiny bit better, goal scores worse than the Premier League average, crosses a tiny bit better, long balls horrible. I mean, if you looked at some of their games, you could understand why. Shots conceded a little bit better there as well. Then the problem with the way De Zerbi plays with Brighton, the way he played with Sassuolo as well, for example, is this: expected goals conceded from counters during 90 minutes. This is the Premier League average, 0.14. Brighton, 0.19. Not great at all. And it shows the way that they get caught on the counter leaves huge spaces behind that double pivot in the middle of the park. Then, expected goals from counters. So, how many goals do they score from their counter attack? Basically the worst of the Premier League. So again, possession-based game, great. But how can you be last when it comes to expected goals from counters? And so I have a little question for you, the viewer. I'm going to do this more and more during future videos so you get a bit more engagement. Who won this game? There are here 2 heat maps from one game. One team is Brighton, one team is another team in the Premier League. I'm not going to mention who right now because then you might have known what the score was. But who do you think won the game here and by how much? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Blue is the color. Football is the game. Anyways, this was the game. Bournemouth 3, Brighton 0. Despite the heat map that you are seeing here, again, possession game, right? Despite all of that, they've got more than 2 times the amount of passes than Bournemouth, way more touches than Bournemouth as well, but they lost the game 3-0. This is, and has been for a while, a problem in the De Zerbi ball camp. Could he do better with a better team, with better players? Maybe, but in my opinion, in my eyes, right now, I really do not see the hype behind Roberto De Zerbi. Yes, we're now in a situation where we have no choice, right? The managers that we're linked with are either inexperienced in the Premier League, or we are being forced to go with the likes of De Zerbi. For some reason, these owners, they should have bought Brighton. I think that's the conclusion here. They should have bought Brighton and leave Chelsea alone. Because we've been taking stuff from Brighton left, right, and center, overpaying for most of it. Thank God De Zerbi left Brighton already, so we're not going to have to pay compensation, which is also something that we have to talk about, because you have to go and fetch a coach, pay the compensation fee, means that that amount of money gets reduced from your transfer budget. Amorim, not cheap to get either. McKenna, not cheap to get either. So, yeah, what do we do? Again, you could go for coaches that are available for free, or you could have not let go of Pochettino. Imagine that, right? Anyways, Roberto De Zerbi, if he's the coach, if he's the next head coach for Chelsea, I'm going to support him 100% because he's the coach of my team, and that's what we do here, right? I think we can all agree with that. But I can already see what's going to happen. If in the first month or so, Chelsea are not playing good football, Chelsea are not winning games, you will see the pressure mount more and more on the team. Media is going to ask some more difficult questions. Roberto De Zerbi, more pressure on him as well. How long will he survive in that type of environment? Because this isn't Sassuolo. This isn't Shakhtar Donetsk. This isn't Brighton. This is Chelsea FC. Yes, now we are in the Conference League. Tough luck. But if you think that you can outperform like this for a long period of time at this club, you're highly mistaken. Remains to be seen what happens. Of course, you still have the likes of Tuchel that are available on the market. I've seen that the odds favor a Jose Mourinho return. Never going to happen with this type of ownership. Never going to happen. Anyways, last thing here is the Michael Olise transfer rumors, right? First of all, how many right wingers do we need in a freaking team? This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is he a good player? Yes. Does he get injured a lot? Probably yes. Do we need him? No. Is 60 million a lot for this type of player compared to what we paid for other teams? Maybe not that much. But do we really need him? I don't see why yes. I don't see why I should answer this yes. But I will say this. Remember last summer, Chelsea have activated the $35 million release clause into Michael Olise's contract, deal advancing to final stages. Olise already said yes to Chelsea. So, technically speaking, it shouldn't be that difficult to convince him to come and play for us, because he already said yes last year. Of course, the price now is a bit more expensive, but right now we also have bought, Palmer, who's doing great. Madueke is still playing okay. Estevao Willian is coming in. I mean, how many players in the same positions do we need? Are we going to change formation and are we going to play with like 6 players on the right? What's going on here? To me, it just doesn't make any sense. Unless we start selling some players in those positions, or unless Olise suddenly says, you know what, I have no problem playing on the other side, because apparently he's French. No, not apparently. We know he's French. So yeah, I don't know. I think our transfer priorities should be center back and especially a good striker, which is going to be my next video, so stay tuned for that. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.